we've got the rest of this roster to figure out. And by
Mm-hmm.
we, I mean Monte McNair. The backcourt, I think, and look, people are always subject to change, but your backcourt, I feel like, is pretty set. Fox, DeRozan, Monk, Herter, Ellis, Scobie Jones, McLaughlin, the new addition from Minnesota. And then you got your two ways right now, which looks like Isaac Jones. Isaiah Crawford, who many have said is the best undrafted player picked or taken, I should say, or signed. Isaiah Crawford, Mason Jones.
Yeah.
But you look at the front court, Sabonis, Keegan, Alex Len, Trey Lyles, and Jaden McDaniels, who we don't even know if he's going to be on the roster. And as we've talked about before, there's some balancing that needs to happen.
Yeah, it feels lighter in the front court, but I guess, there's a couple ways to look at it. I think they have 2 roster spots left officially, and I would not be entirely shocked if they added, some version of a front court player, 3, 4, 5, or one of each, somewhere in that realm. But let's just say, I don't know. I'm thinking of someone that's a free agent right now that's on the list. I know that's still injured, but would come back, like Saddiq Bey. Let's just throw that name in there.
Love that.
Yeah, I do too. But let's think real. Like, where does he fit? Or I'm trying to think of someone else, or Doug McDermott. Some people have talked about Isaiah Stewart from the Pistons. Who's been in the Pistons. Would they play? I guess is the question. Like, Sabonis getting the most of the minutes. You're going to play Murray in the front court. Lyles will get his minutes. I don't know where Len and McDaniels will fit in as far as consistent minutes. Are those potential last free agents, mid-level guys signed, going to play? Are they going to be ahead of those guys? Or does it have to be like, hey, they're moving a draft pick, maybe some of the guards to get someone that will crack the lineup?
Well, Trey Lyles had a rough year last year, a lot because of injury, and he earned that. We forget he re-signed last summer to a nice, a very very team friendly deal, and we were all very happy about that because he was a huge part of that playoff team. I don't mind Trey Lyles as a backup to Keegan Murray, but when you look at your front line, and I'm not even going to count McDaniels. Your front line consists of Sabonis, Murray, Len, Lyles. That to me it's 4 guys.
Yeah, it's not enough.
But 2 of them are starters, and then you have 1 backup to Sabonis, 1 backup to Murray. Yes, I'm sure there's times when, and we saw that before, where Trey Lyles can play the 5 in smaller lineups. But I personally would love to see them grab somebody in that rotation that would actually be certainly ahead of Alex Len and perhaps even ahead of Trey Lyles. And Beef Stew from Detroit might crack that code. There's a couple others out there. It's funny you mentioned Saddiq Bey, because Saddiq Bey, as we know, is somebody that Monte McNair has inquired on in the past. I think a couple of years ago, the Kings were reported to be looking at him. So I don't know who the answer is, but I would be a little bit surprised if that front line was those 5 guys.
Yeah, I would be too. And I guess where I was getting at is, let's just use an example from last year. So if JaVale McGee came back, he's a free agent. They brought him back, let's just say. There were times where JaVale was in the rotation behind Sabonis. Then it was Alex Len, but it was never really both of them. So it's a little bit of a repeater. You get more size. So if they added someone like that, you go, okay, that makes sense. They added another 7-footer, a wingspan, maybe a rim protector. But will that player play is, I guess, my question. And without knowing who the player is, it's a tough answer. So you could really make the argument. I think Russell did say here, and I do agree with this, a lot of logic to me means, could they find in a deal like a possible starting 4? Kuzma, for example, which I'm not sure that's the right fit, but let's just throw him out there. Or Markkanen had been rumored before. I think all those will cost an amount. But if they did that, then I feel like the balance makes a little more sense with Sabonis. We'll throw in Kuzma's name, Murray back to the 3, DeRozan to the 4, Fox starting, Monk off the bench. I think that's probably a version of what might look best for this team. But can you get there?
Well, it's a good question, and it's a question that'll have to be solved between now and October. Also, please don't ever say Russell makes a good point again. We'll take a break. When we come back, if you've been waiting for a couple hours, as I'm sure